Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5Alive here, and we're back with another episode of Let's Build. It's been a while since I did one of these, and in today's episode we're going to be doing a Channel 5 Gaming Planet Coaster themed go-karts. So stay tuned, and let's check it out. Alright, so this is going to be a pretty fun process, and looking at the footage I had to divide it into two half-an-hour episodes. Those seem to be a little bit more consumable for you guys. And I did this here for the go-kart competition, and it's been a while since I did a certain style of blueprint, and I've been wanting to tackle the Planet Coaster style. So this strays away from my, I guess, regular sci-fi that you normally see me doing, and I'm trying out the Planet Coaster theme. So it should be pretty fun, and I really am happy with the end result. And what you guys get to see here is creative block and artist struggle. So it's been a while since I created anything, and I had to get the ball rolling again. And this is something that everybody goes through, and you get to kind of see me battle it here, and then you get to see me overcome it. So I'm pretty happy that I stuck to it. But the first day I was building what you guys see here, and then I sort of just kind of I tapped out for the rest of the day. So I built a station. I was kind of unhappy with it, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna step away. I got the ball rolling again. I played a little bit of Planet Coaster. I'll sleep on it, and when I come back, I'll have a little bit more energy, and maybe I'll come up with some creative ideas while I'm sitting away from it. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. And you'll see later on in this episode, and especially in the next episode, you'll see me pick up speed. So in this episode, it's a lot of tinkering, trying to come up with the design. And then in the later half of this episode, I'm assuming it's going to be me ripping apart the design and rethinking things. And then the next episode is just going to be me going full bore, getting this thing to where I want it to be. So, one thing I want to mention is I did build this for the Planet Coaster go-kart contest, and I was a little bit disappointed because it seems to be, like, I submitted it I submitted it on time, but it seems to be that Frontier didn't even look at it, because 2 hours after the competition closed, they already had the results. And this was a little bit disappointing because there's no way you can judge 200 plus creations in only 2 hours. You could probably barely get your words together on what you wanted to say about the top 5 within those 2 hours. So it seems to be that they had the judging done well in advance. We did some looking into it, and all the winners were coasters that were submitted on Monday. No winner was later than Monday. So we kind of got the assumption that they judged the contest on a Tuesday, but the contest didn't close until a Friday. So, and even in the live stream, they said something like, we're going to show off creations from the people who submitted later on in the competition some point next week. And that kind of confirmed my thoughts. It was like, well, if you're going to show off the creations that were done later on in the contest, that means you had already made up your mind before looking at the final submissions that were sent in from Tuesday to Friday. And it just kind of baffled me of why have a competition, why have a deadline on that competition if you're not going to honor that. So unfortunately, my creation here was sent in on time, but I don't think it was looked at, and it wasn't considered to be one of the top 5. Now, I don't know if this would have been a top 5 creation, but at the time of making this recording, within 2 days after the creation was up, or 2 or 3 days after the creation was up and submitted, it's already the #1 downloaded item on Steam and one of the highest rated go-karts on the workshop right now. Some people have made comments saying that they thought this creation was the best go-kart creation they have seen since the 1.2 update. I can't say for sure certain. I do like the creation, but I can't judge my own creation. It's really up to the people that look at it and think whether or not they like it or not. So I'm pretty happy with the end result. I can't really compare myself or my creation to other people, but I'll let you guys be the judges of that when you see the final result. So anyways, that's my rant about the Frontier competition. I felt like I put all this effort into it and it didn't even get seen. However, it is the one of the top go-karts on the Steam Workshop, and it was good for me to get back into the game. So I'm pretty happy with it nonetheless, because it got me flowing with a bunch of creative ideas, and it got me to try the Planet Coaster theme. And I'm really happy with the Planet Coaster theme because it allowed me to try something new, and I really like this theme, guys. So I'm going to be probably doing a little bit more of this and making a series of these kind of Planet Coaster themed items sometime in the near future. I still have to finish my sci-fi kit, so we'll see. I'll probably mix it up. Here you can see I put like a boxy roof on this thing, and at the end I wasn't really happy with it. So I was trying to go I was looking at references of like traditional go-kart buildings, and that's where I got the idea from. That's how the roof was done, and something just didn't feel Planet Coaster about it. And I'm trying the different styles. They do the wood backing with the vinyl plastic on front, so I'm trying to do all the elements that make this thing feel Planet Coaster. And I think I was struggling because of the roof. So I wanted to make that roof work, because I thought, well, it still is going to be the Planet Coaster theme, but the reason the roof looks different is because it's a go-kart style hut. But at the end, I figured after sleeping on it, there was a much better way of doing this, and I could get the same results but make it even better, and make it match that Planet Coaster theme even more. Like I was saying, it's good that I'm back into this and I'm creating again. And I did get a lot of inspiration from this, so I do have some ideas for a series going forward that I'm actually looking really forward to. As I said, I do have to finish my sci-fi series, and I'm still looking forward to doing more on that and completing the whole universe. But now I'm like super excited about going into the Planet Coaster style theme. So the reason I made it this way, guys, I was thinking strategically for the Planet Coaster contest. So they said that they wanted something that they could put into the game, something that was not overly complicated, something that was kind of simple, something that's under 2,000 pieces, and you know, has a cohesive design within their, I guess, their current blueprints. So Planet Coaster theme is like the way you do that. I figured, what better go-kart to be at the front of the game than one that represents the entirety of Planet Coaster. So the sponsorship or the logos and all that stuff would be big Planet Coaster signs. The colors are Planet Coaster with the blue. Everything about this kind of, I wanted it to scream, this is a Planet Coaster go-kart, and I wanted to incorporate certain elements like Chief Beef and Gulpy, just little bits here and there like the shops. And I also thought it would be cool to incorporate a ride, because now with the new placeable blueprints, you can actually do rides included, and it kind of gives you that whole package, like this is what Planet Coaster is capable of. And I wanted the go-karts to feel very traditional, to something like it's an actual go-kart circuit. So so when you look at it, you go, that's a go-kart circuit, that's a Planet Coaster theme, and that's everything that should represent a Planet Coaster go-kart blueprint. And I really pushed that to the max, and I really wanted this to be featured in the game. And through that strategy, I learned that I really love the Planet Coaster themed pieces. They are a little bit finicky to work with though, guys. Like the backboarding has to be undulated, or I guess pushed up just like 2 boards higher. So everything has to be unaligned, if that makes sense. So if you have a regular wall piece, the one behind it has to be up higher with a footboard below it, or the piece in front has to be down lower. Now the problem with that is when you're working in multiple tiers, like floors, you know, you want your pieces to be separated perfectly, so that way the roof is exactly on top of the wall, but it creates all sorts of little finicky problems. So you can see on the bottom layer there, I had the wood panel up in front. Normally the wood panels are supposed to be behind the vinyl plastic, but I wasn't able to do that because the floorboards were poking through. So I had to put them a little bit in front. And it creates these little problems for you to overcome, but it's quite an interesting challenge. Also with these pieces, they seem extra finicky. They do that thing where they get disaligned from the grid quite often, where you snap a piece around and they don't fit anymore. And then you have to select the grid and relocate them. And sometimes there's little gaps and stuff. They were a little bit finicky, but I figured out how to work with it, and I eventually got it to work pretty cleanly. So you can see there's little gaps here and there that haven't quite been filled. There's little areas where I'm trying to figure out like how high should this be and all that different stuff. And it was pretty hard to work with, but now that I've gotten the hang of it from this whole creation process, I got a good understanding and ideas for how I could use this in the future going forward for very unique Planet Coaster Chief Beef shops and restaurants and all these different ideas. And I'm actually really excited to use this theme in such a manner that I have with my previous designs, but it'd be much more clean and obviously stray away from that sci-fi feel. Some of my sci-fi objects like the Chief Beef, the different Chief Beef things that I've done little restaurants, but I've also done big industrial ones with grills and stuff. That's going to be harder to achieve, or I'm going to have to take a different approach rather when doing the Planet Coaster style theme, because the thing about sci-fi is it allowed me to go like really elaborate and overboard. So I have these big grills out front and these giant sci-fi ketchup mustard pumps. I'm not going to necessarily be able to do that stuff with the modern theme without it feeling too sci-fi or wacky. I want everything to be modern, sleek, clean. And if you go a little bit crazy with the characteristics and the goofy and quirkiness of it, it no longer maintains that sleekness. So I have some ideas for some sleek designs in the future. I might be able to do a barbecue grill if it's like outside and it has a patio area with trellises and, you know, ivy growing over, and it's just like this nice outdoor barbecue in front of this beautiful modern restaurant. I have some really good ideas that I'm really inspired by creating this building here. So anyways, I strayed off course, and in the background you can see me that I ripped down that whole old roof, and I'm trying to rethink the design of the roof. As you can see, I have all these other Planet Coaster themed items in the background. So the Planet Coaster theme is an actual theme. I probably forgot to mention that in the beginning, but you can see them in the background, and I'm looking at them as a reference, trying to see how to properly design that theme. And so here I was looking at it and I wasn't too happy with the roof, and I thought, well, how do I get this roof to match more like the Planet Coaster themed roof? And when I ended up creating, like, it has that waviness to it and that certain style of roof. It's very wavy, bendy, and it's a light metal roof. So I wanted to incorporate that, and because that'll really help scream Planet Coaster theme, whereas the other roof didn't. Now the problem with this is I ended up making it and it just looked like a big wavy slide. So I wanted to break that up a little bit and try and see if I could create some more undulation and some more patterns in there, I should say, and I didn't want it to be symmetrical like the other Planet Coaster creations. And the whole idea with this building, this boarding station for the go-karts, is I wanted the bottom level to be like a parking garage or like a parkade, and that's where the go-karts go in. I wanted the second level to be a shopping center where you buy all the Planet Coaster merchandise. You buy Gulpy stuff, you buy coffees, you buy Chief Beef burgers, you buy hot dogs, all the goodies that you would get at a go-kart area. And then the whole outer deck, I wanted you to be able to walk around the entire thing, so that the guests could go, no matter where the go-karts are, the guests could kind of, you know, walk to any point of the building and get a good view of the go-karts. So I meant that whole upper area to be a gallery or viewing area where you can actually see the entire go-kart layout. So it's a great place for the people to get some food and sit back and watch the go-karts. And then there's some I was going to use the bathrooms as doorways or whatever, so it looks like there's traffic going in, so they can get up to the upper levels where you see those windows. So those are kind of like pretend viewing areas where the guests would go in the building and then they would go up and they could go to the second and third levels. So I wanted to have these windows kind of jutting out and facing the go-karts in different directions. So that's why I didn't want it to be symmetrical, because I wanted these window viewing areas so that you could peer out and see things. And I like the idea of not having it symmetrical because the design would look a lot more interesting. But I still wanted to incorporate some symmetry to the design, but that was going to be saved for later on. So here I'm just trying different things with the building and trying to see how I can get these wavy motions to look cool. And here you see me running it all the way down, and it like a ski slide, I guess. And I actually really liked that, and I thought the idea of having them go down all the way to the ground and pop up just a little bit, and in between the go-karts are zooming out, I really liked that, and it gave me the idea that I could put something on the feet at the bottom going across, like a bridge or something of that sort. And later on, the idea came to me that the scoreboard would be really nice there, so we end up doing something like that. So the whole building here dictates how the go-karts are going to look and feel. So this is where I'm spending most of the episode and most of my time getting this just right, because this is the hero piece, and I'm going to be incorporating the go-karts into it. So the front, the back, the sides, there's going to be track touching all sides of this building, and we're actually going to build the go-karts and bridges and exterior decorations all into this big building, and the building is going to actually be more or less in the center of the go-kart tracks and be kind of swallowed by it all. So the design is going to come together really interestingly near the end, in the second half of this episode, or the second episode, and you're going to see how just focusing on the building, getting the building just right is really important, and from there everything just follows that design. And I'm pretty happy with it, and it took a lot of tweaking, and you can see here I'm raising the roof and trying to get things at different levels, and it is a puzzling thing getting this to work because you have those backboards that are slightly higher than the vinyl plastic, and you don't always have the pieces to fit. Like you can see there, I couldn't quite get that slanted piece to fit, and then it was dipping down too low, and I couldn't get the guests to look out properly, and it gives you some little challenges to overcome. And it's, how do I fit this in here? Now things have been popped up an extra level, things are a few inches up over here but a few inches down over here. How do you get this all to fit just right? When you're creating complicated building designs like this, it's definitely more challenging, but at the same time it gives you the illusion that there's more detail and design gone into the building structure, even if you're building on a boxy grid. So there's a lot of tricks that people use to make buildings look more intricate by building separate buildings and rotating them and wedging them into current buildings to create slanted walls and stuff like that. Well, the nice thing about this, I guess, building set is you can build in a boxy fashion, but because the roof is so wavy, there's wavy areas, there's backboards that are wavy, it creates all these different undulations and interesting spots for the eye to look at, that in the end result is, even if you built it in a rectangular shape, there's just so much noise and so many different things happening, there's so many angles and curves that it no longer feels boxy. So I really am in love with this this style of building, the Planet Coaster theme, because it allows you to get away with creating a base and then just layering your way up and getting that roof to look very wavy and interesting, and finding a way to incorporate those waves into the lower levels. And it offers a fun and interesting way of building, and it's challenging, and the end result looks really unique, and I love the end result of these designs. And like I said, it's giving me a whole bunch of inspiration to do this with other building types. So I have some ideas for some chief beef places and some Monsieur Frites, and I have a lot of really good ideas that I'm sitting on, and it's good to be inspired and invigorated to get back to making more building sets and building designs for you guys, shops and facilities. But at the same time, I feel like my sci-fi set is incomplete, and I want to finish what I started there. But I will be dabbling in this, and I might also try and do a boomerang coaster in this style. I'm not sure yet. But we have a boomerang contest going for our group, our Discord group. It was announced in the go-kart competition that we just featured the other day. And we've sent out the email to all Discord members for the boomerang competition. And I did this go-kart here for the Frontier competition, but I feel like I should also participate in trying to create some of these things for our competitions. It might not happen every time, but I feel like since we have a boomerang competition going, it would be good for me to also make a boomerang coaster. Now, obviously, I can't participate in my own contest, and I'm not going to, but just to, you know, we're going to see everybody's boomerang coasters. It's going to be the flavor of the week. Might as well do a Let's Build boomerang coaster, kind of like we're seeing here, and then also do a presentation for that, and then it'll be perfectly in line with our competition. So I think that would be fun, and I might use this theme and try something different. But actually, I'm thinking of mixing the Planet Coaster theme with another theme. So maybe something like a Planet Coaster Gulpy boomerang place, and maybe instead of blue panels, I use Gulpy colors like green or yellow, or a mixture of the both. And I'll keep that Planet Coaster modern theme, but I'll also incorporate a new theme to it, like it's sponsored by Gulpy and it's painted in such a fashion. So we'll see. These are some ideas that I'm playing with, but this building style has definitely got me inspired, and I definitely recommend giving it a go, playing around with it and seeing what kind of things you can do with the vinyl plastic mixed in with the wood, the modern wood, and see how it goes for you, because I think it creates a lot of interesting flowy shapes, and it's a lot of fun. Here you can see me struggling with these corner caps. I was trying to get the design to flow all the way around, and I couldn't quite get the way I wanted to, because the roofs are at different heights than the roofs on the back side, so they didn't quite align. But what I ended up coming up with here ended up working, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let's see how much time we have left. So we've got about 10 minutes, I'd say. So quite a bit left on this. And I probably should have looked at the footage first, but I think the footage here is going to carry us through to finishing this building. And in the next episode, you guys are going to see me pretty much just plow through the entire go-kart track in half an hour. And I really felt like this episode here, I was struggling. For the first half, I was like, what do I build? And I start with a box around the go-kart station. Then I build it up, and I make a roof that I don't like. I stand back, I don't like it. I leave it alone for a day, and I come back the next day, and I have new ideas in my head to make something like this. And I felt like this looks a lot better. It started working out a lot better. And then from there, I'm playing around with the Planet Coaster theme. How does the wood panels work? How can I push this? How much waviness can I get in there before it looks silly? How can I incorporate some glass panels into it to make it look a little bit more interesting? And how do I use these railings and peering areas to make it look more interactive and all that different stuff? And I feel like I experimented with it not as far as I can take it, but far enough for this certain go-kart theme that we're going for. So I'm pretty happy with the way it looks, and I'm pretty happy with how these Planet Coaster theme pieces work. So it was a lot of fun, and I think I got this boarding station looking pretty good by the time this episode ends. And then we'll go in there, and I think at the final touches, I put the shops in and stuff like that. We'll put some signs in, and I get these different Planet Coaster shops inside. I stuck with here we're doing it here. Perfect. So I'm sticking with the main ones. So we got the burgers, the hot dogs, and the Cosmic Cow milkshakes. Those were pretty much the main. I mean, Chief Beef and Cosmic Cow were like the main assets in the game in alpha. That's all we had. Hot Dog Squad is a pretty prominent one. And then Gulpy is the other really prominent one. So we added in some Gulpy. And then I've went in and added in some Pip Shop because that was something new and it's refreshing. And I put that on the front and it looks really good. And then we obviously brought in our Street Fox coffee. So I gotta have me some coffee here. And then we stuck in some bathrooms as well. So I am fiddling with the inside. The interior is a little bit strange because some of the roof pieces crash around, and you can see some of those wall pieces, they turn into corner pieces and they create these little divots. And it's a little bit of a problem. And I actually had something come to mind when I was building this later on, and I'll give it to you guys as a tip right now. It'll probably work. If you were having a problem where you had something like the roof was butting into a wall and the wall was creating that gap, that divot, I'm thinking what you could do to get rid of that divot is you could separate that piece that's giving you the problem, that's causing that intersection, the one that's the problem of the one that's the cause of the divot. You could separate it from the building and keep it as a separate building piece. I feel like if there were two separate building pieces, they would not recognize each other because you could offset it just a little bit. So they would no longer crash into each other, causing the detection of a corner piece. So I was actually thinking, like, instead of trying to mess with my design and change the pieces around, in the future what I might just do is go, oh, that is causing an intersection problem, I'm going to separate it from the building and leave it there floating, and it should technically adjust your issue. So just a little tip for you guys there. I'm definitely going to have to test it first, but in theory it should work. I don't see why it wouldn't, because they're now two separate objects. So I'm pretty much going to guarantee that it would work. So yeah, I'm just trying to fill in and decorate these slides. I did really like them, and I felt like they gave some character to the, you know, because the go-karts are shooting out of there, and I like the idea of that they're shooting slides. So it has that forward momentum feel where everything is kind of flowing forward out the front there. And at the top you have the highest peak of the window. So you have your highest peak and your lowest peak, and I think it creates a really nice contrast of design with the high and the low and the pushing forward. So at the top it's pushing up, the bottom it's pushing down and forward, and it really creates that forward momentum, flowy feel that racing karts should have. So at the end of the whole thing, we have this boarding station that looks like it has motion. So I really like that. Now, actually, you get to see me building a little bit of the tracks here, guys. So I was just trying to play around with certain ideas. I wanted there to be a bridge in the front so that you go under the coaster. And so I didn't want that to actually be the front. I wanted a front on top of that building. So I wanted to incorporate a bridge in front of the actual boarding station so that that would be the sign. And then you pass in under the doorways and go up and into the station, or you can go up and or straight forward into the go-karts themselves. So you go, you no matter what, you're going to go to the front of the building, whether you want to go in the building or if you want to go into the queue. So there's going to be this nice grand entrance plaza sign thing, and I guess I did that off camera because it's there now. So I was playing around with it. That might not be the final one, but I wanted to get that wavy feel of the Planet Coaster theme and incorporate that to the front. That way we have this big open wall on the building where we can put a sign, but we also have a big open wall in front of the building where we can put another sign. So I was going to play with the signs you'll see that probably in the next episode, where I can put Planet Coaster Go-Karts, and I can also put a Channel 5 gaming sign in there, and different stuff like that. So from here on out, you guys are going to see just a little bit more building of walls and stuff in this episode. I'm running low on footage here. There's only a few minutes left, but the next episode we're just going to crank through building the whole thing. You can see some Hellion rings in the background. I was playing around with those off camera, and we're going to incorporate those, and it's going to be really awesome. Here I break up all these wall pieces because you can't curve wall pieces, so I separated them all, and I wanted to use them so I can create curvy wall pieces. So they're all separate buildings, and I could take one, duplicate it, put it into position, and then take the next one that's supposed to match into that, and I could create curvy, flowy wall pieces that wrap around and flow with the track. Now, I put corner caps on them, and then I realized right after that it wasn't going to work. I thought the pillars would have been a nice touch, but because they turn, they crash into each other, and they cause little bits of issues. But I thought that they would be there to hide because the flowiness of the caps of the top trim, they don't crash into each other perfectly. So I thought the actual pillars would cover that up, but it wasn't the case. But we found something that worked, and it doesn't look too bad, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. So we're going to be using that those styles of pieces to cover up certain areas of the track in combination with a lot of other stuff. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of Let's Build. And in the next episode, you're going to see me build the whole track, everything, all the decorations, and it's going to be a really fast-paced action episode, and I'm gonna have a hard time keeping up with it because I'm gonna be working so fast in it, and I really hit my rhythm in it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please be sure to check out episode 2 where we finish it up, and then we'll have a presentation video shortly after that one as well. All right, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you guys in part 2 of Let's Build Planet Coaster Go-Karts. Bye now.